Hey guys, this is Kayla with Becky's Graphic Design in Nashville, Tennessee, and today we will be learning how to more efficiently style an InDesign book from start to finish. Now this video is not going to be about how to make a pretty InDesign file or how book design is done. This is a video about how to more efficiently make your process more profitable for you as a graphic designer. Now let's get started here by looking at our files. In this project, we have an author who is going to be publishing their book with Ingram Spark. If we look here, we can see that the author has already broken up her book into multiple chapters for us. Lucky for me, this saves me a lot of time. This means I don't have to do this beforehand. I would highly encourage doing this before you begin designing. It will save you a lot of time later on. Next, we're going to take a look at the template that my boss has already made for me. I'm going to go ahead and open this up and we'll take a look at it. Like I said, this video is not about how to make a pretty print design. This has already been done for me. I'm going to scroll through this and have a look at the design. It all looks good to me. This is my template file and I don't want to override this, so I'm going to X out of it. I'm not going to save anything. And then I'm going to make a copy of it. Now remember, this video is about efficiency. Later on, when I go to make my ebook, I want to make sure that my files are already properly named for ebook conventions. In an ebook, it pulls the InDesign files and uses the name of each file as the chapter name. So I'm simply going to name each file the chapter name. This one's going to be called Introduction. I'm going to open this. And I'm going to remove all the content that is not related to the introduction. Okay, if I scroll through this, all I have left is the introduction. Perfect. As we can see here, this section has already been titled in the running header Introduction, so I'm going to leave that as it is. As I scroll through this file here, I'm just noticing a couple of things that I want to change that are going to save me a lot of time in the future. One of these things I want to change is these orphans here. Orphans are what you call words that fall down to their own line at the end of a paragraph. These are considered something that you don't want to see in traditional graphic design rules, and it is also something that's sort of just visually distracting. Now I could just manually drop this down to the next page with a Shift-Enter. However, if I have to do that for every single orphan in the entire book, it's going to take me quite a long time. I might as well just have the computer do it for me. So I'm going to undo that, and I'm going to show you how to apply a no-break style to the body paragraph. I'm going to open up this paragraph style over here and look for body. If I open this up to edit it, I'm going to go over here to the GREP style tab. Now, if you don't know anything about GREP styles, it may seem a bit scary to you. Don't even know what that stands for. What we are going to do is create a new GREP style. I'm going to apply a style of no break. So I'm going to create a new character style here. Now this character style could technically be named whatever you want it to be. However, just so I know what it is, I'm going to name it no break. The only thing you have to do in this no break character style is make sure that this no break checkbox here has a check mark in it. Everything else can be left as is. I'm going to hit OK. And then the next thing I'm going to do is apply a small line of code here. Most of the time, if you look this up online, you will see that it says period, open curly bracket, 10, close curly bracket, and then a $sign. This tends to work fine, but in most fiction or nonfiction novels, I find that I like to put a 12 in here. It seems to be a little more visually appealing. You can change that number to whatever you want. All it indicates is the number of characters that must be on lines on their own. I'm going to hit OK. And now, if we look here, this line is no longer an orphan. It has become multiple words. I'm going to scroll back through the book here and double check, but there should no longer be any orphans. Yep, this looks good to me. Now, if these styles were applied properly, it should have also fixed the styles that were related to the body. If I check my body first paragraph, which is this style right here, the one that adds a capital first couple of words, if I double check that, it should be based on the body. So that means that that GREP style has also been applied here, because it has been applied to the body. I'm also going to check that the body title page one has accepted it as well, and it looks like it has. Perfect. The next thing I want to check is that my paragraphs are not broken in a funny manner either. If I scroll through here, I can look and see that this line has come up to the top of the page by itself. Now I can prevent this from happening by using what we call keep options. So I'm going to open up my body paragraph styles again, go to keep options here, and I'm going to tell the lines to stay together. And it looks like my boss Becky has already done this for me. All this says is that at the start and the end of each paragraph, 2 lines must stay together, and at the end of each paragraph, 2 lines must stay together. You can change these numbers if you like, but 2 seems to work fine. One other thing we are going to check is that the chapter title name here has a style of split document. So I'm going to open up the chapter title style here and go down to the export tagging. Now this will not have any sort of effect on a print book. However, later when I go to create the ebook, I want this checkbox here to be marked. This checkbox will cause this chapter to move to its own next page, a new fresh chapter in the ebook. Otherwise, all the files just sort of run together in one big long run-on document. Now that I'm happy with this introduction here, I'm going to copy it and rename this one Chapter 1. I'm going to open this up and then delete all of the content from it. I'm going to use Control A to highlight everything and then backspace to delete it all. The next thing will be placing the Word document into this file. I'm going to go to File, Place, and then navigate to my folder here. I am going to select this Chapter 1 manuscript and hit Open. I now have this document loaded into my cursor, and I'm going to Shift-click to place it into this box. Now, as we can see, this is still retaining the documentation and the formatting from Word. Unfortunately, everything seems to have been applied a character style of chapter title. Now the reason that this happens is for some reason in InDesign, the last edited style becomes the default one for placing Word documents. Because the most common style in your document is going to be the body copy, I am going to make sure that that Word document comes in the body style. To fix this problem, we're going to start over. I'm going to delete all of this. To simply reset that most recently edited style, I'm going to click on body here. I'm going to change the font size, or anything for that matter. I'm going to change that to 11. Save it, open it up again, return it to the previous setting, hit OK. And now, so long as we have body selected here, I should be able to place my Chapter 1 Word document, and everything should come in the body style. There we are. This is now a body. A couple of things are still retaining those local overrides from the Word document, such as this larger font size here, and it should also be retaining any italicized fonts, such as this here. Everything is highlighted in blue because my pre-flight panel is helping me out, letting me know that there are overrides on this font. If I right-click and tell it to clear the overrides, you see that that blue highlighting goes away. What we don't want to happen, however, is I don't want to highlight this with the italic in it, tell it to clear the override, and then lose the italic. I think our authors would be fairly upset if we lost all of their italics for the entire story here, so I need to make sure I hold on to those. So before I start clearing all those overrides, I need to make sure I'm checking for italics first. To do that, I'm going to open up Find Change. I'm going to do Control F and open up Find Change. The best way to catch your italics and your bolds is to go into this GREP style right here. I'm going to tell the GREP style to find a format of italic. Now here, these are InDesign styles. Nothing has been set yet in this text, so we can't use this. So I'm going to go over to the basic character formats and look for a font style of italic. I'm going to hit OK. And now I want to apply the InDesign character style of italic that we have already created. Okay. Now I'm going to tell the Find Change to run through and look for instances of italic. If I tell it to change, nothing seems to happen much, but now the style, or the character style, of italic has been applied to those words. I'm going to tell it to change all, and now we see that 3 replacements have been made. The same thing can be done if you have bold or bold italic also in your manuscript that you need to hang on to. I don't believe there is any bold in this manuscript, so I'm going to leave this as is. I'm going to click Done here. I'm now going to apply these other paragraph styles, such as the chapter title. I'm going to apply the paragraph style of quote to this, and quote author to this. Now we can see that there is some messy formatting left over from Word, such as these long tabs. Before I go through and change all of these manual line breaks, I'm going to check for purposeful line breaks. In this book, new thoughts and new paragraph sections are noted by a body first paragraph. We can see here that the first couple of words are capitalized, but it still retains the italics that we applied earlier. So I'm going to run through and find all of these paragraphs and apply that body first paragraph style to them. At the end of each chapter, the author has some journal prompts so that the reader can write down their thoughts. I'm going to apply the style of journal prompts to these, and then apply the style of, I believe, H2 to this. Now that I have caught all of those first new paragraphs, I'm going to remove all of these line breaks using the Find Change and not manually removing them. I'm going to open up the Find Changer again with Control F. I'm going to remove these formats from before, and I'm going to tell it to look for a double line break. This can be done by telling it to look for a break and another break. This is what happens when you are in Microsoft Word and you hit the Enter button 2 times in order to drop down to the next line. This is what a lot of authors do whenever they're writing. But fortunately, I can fix that easily here. I'm going to tell it to remove that ~b to a ~b singular. I'm going to tell the Finder to change all of these, and I'm going to run this through a couple of times until I catch all of them. Perfect, there we go. Lastly, I'm going to apply the body title page first paragraph to this style. And then from here, I should be able to remove the rest of these overrides so that this is no longer Times New Roman. I'm going to hit Control A, right click, and then tell it to clear all overrides. Before you do this, double check to make sure that you have caught all of the italics and you have formatted everything that needs to be formatted, because after this, you will lose that formatting. I'm noticing here I have a couple of tab characters that I want to remove as well. The nice thing about Find and Change is that you can copy something out of the text here. I'm copying that, and I'm going to hit Control F to open up the Finder. Now I should be able to paste in that tab character, and it shows me that the code for a tab character is this. I'm going to tell it to change that to nothing. So I'm going to find it, change it, and remove it. I'm going to change all of those, and I only get rid of one, so that's perfect. Since we have removed a lot of content from this file, I am now left at the end here with a lot of blank pages, and I'm going to make sure I remove those from my Page tab over here. You always want to make sure that the last page is a left-hand page. I'm going to delete everything from here on out. Now that we are through with styling this chapter, we want to style the rest of the book. However, we don't want to undertake this process for every single chapter. Why can't we do it all at once? The next part of the process will be simply placing the content into each separate InDesign file and then running this formatting through all the documents at once. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to make new InDesign files for each chapter by copying my template and placing the Word document into each one. As we can see here, that InDesign glitch where it brings in your Word document as the last modified style sort of becomes a feature here. Journal prompts is the current selected style. However, when I go to place my Word document, it's going to change it into body. I'm not sure if this is an intended feature of InDesign or just something that happens in the background of the programming, but if you use it to your advantage, it can save you a lot of time. Now that I have made files for chapters 1 through 12, I also remembered to make one for About the Author. Don't forget about these additional chapters. We might as well style them in with the rest of them as well. Okay, now that I have all these chapters brought in, I have the Word documents placed into the InDesign files. I'm going to save all of them with Control-Shift-Alt-S.